Good evening, Miss Jessiah, Voné. I was thinking about a lot today. Actually, today I've actually been in a pretty goofy mood. Like, I've been laughing all day, like, different, like, little things I just find so goofy today. And it's almost like the feeling of, like, when you're high and you just, like, laugh at anything, but I'm not high, I'm not doing anything. But it's like that feeling. That's what I felt like all day today, and I'm just like been laughing so much about like little goofy things. So that's nice, right? It's a nice change for me. Um, Usually I'm kind of stressed about different things, right? But yeah. Um, so I wrote a little poem today. It's kind of all mixed up a little bit, like it bits and parts of like a bigger thing, if that makes sense. But I still want to share it because it's a little short poem, And, um, you know, as a single parent, it's hard, right? I really believe that God designed to have, the main masculine energy and the main feminine energy, right? The man and the woman, right? And although a dad should be nurturing also, um, and things like that, um, it's just children receive the love differently from a dad versus from a mom. It's really hard to imitate that, and as I had a moment today with my daughters where um, I was sitting on the ground, probably looking at my phone or something like that, and then oh yes, that's what I was saying. Okay, so I see on Instagram like they have these different exercise videos, right, and even different stretching on Facebook as well. And so I was like, they like say like lift up your legs against the wall, and that relieves like stress hormones. So that's what I was trying to do. And so of course my kids, when I set up, they took that as an opportunity to start jumping on me, right? And my girls, they're a bit rough, kind of like their mom, I guess. So it was kind of rough, right? And my first initial reaction is to be like, "Hey, stop." But then I'm like, this is kind of like a daddy moment. Like I could see if their dad was present, I could see like them doing that with him, right? So I allowed it to happen for a certain amount of time, and like it felt good, and at the same time though, it's like bittersweet, right? Because like in that moment they're having so much fun, right? Jumping on me, and and in that moment I feel like I'm helping them to have a normal life in a sense, right? But it also still highlights the lack, right? The lack of the father figure. Um, and for me, because of my experiences in life, growing up, my mom was a single parent for a lot of my childhood, and I've spoken about it before, like the lack of protection, the lack of you know uh, protection rather, and so it's not just about any father figure, right? But a safe, stable father figure, right? Um, and you don't find that it just anywhere. You don't find that just anywhere. Um, so yeah, this I felt the need just to say that, like when you talk about like father figure, mother figures, it shouldn't just be anybody that's just around. They need to be stable and safe, right? Um, but yeah, so I'm very protective over my girls because of my experiences, and not in a debilitating way, but um, in a way where my senses are heightened. Yes, when other people are around, and I want to feel your energy. And if it feels off, my friend, deuces. You know what I'm saying? Um, but anyway, And I'm not just talking about like lovers or anything like that. I'm talking about literally anybody. Like when I was first looking for schools for kindergartens, when my daughter was before she entered kindergarten, when I was first looking for schools, there was this principal, and I did the eye test. I call it the eye test, like when I just stare into your eyes because I want to see your soul. That's I can't really sugarcoat that, right? I even did it with one of my mom's boyfriends. he told her, he told her, I felt like she was staring into my soul. I was. But anyway, um, I stared into his eyes, this principal, and he got finicky. And that is a red flag for me. Like, what do you have to hide? You know what I'm saying? And then also, not only that, but there was a girl that had walked by, and as soon as she saw him, like a student, as soon as she saw him, her whole demeanor changed, not for the positive, right? And I didn't like that. And then he said the reason she had that reaction was because she was wearing a hoodie, and she knows that he doesn't like hoodies, or hoodies are not allowed. Regardless of all that, that was a weird reaction. That was a weird interaction, and I do not trust my daughter with you. And I also don't like when people, like, I'm not even going to say it, but I might as well say it. I don't like when people grab for your child or touch your child or think, oh, because I'm a teacher, doctor, whatever. Oh, friend, I don't know. This depends on the situation. And I can hold your, touch your child. Back off. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're, and obviously trusted sources, But that guy, like, kind of like grabbed for her, and also, and I'm like, dude, I don't know you. She doesn't know you. Chill. So that kind of thing, like the eye test is what I call it. Yeah. But yeah, I like to check people's energy, I guess, as much as I can. This is something actually that I'm just learning. This is something I've always felt since child, right? But I've never delved into it, and I haven't yet either. But I definitely want to. This is the really, hopefully, I feel so silly saying this, to be honest with you. I feel really silly talking about this, saying this out loud, but my hope was, as I learned more about it, like energy and stuff like that, they're like tarot readings on YouTube and stuff like that. I was hoping like there would be like a love interest, I guess, that would introduce me into the world of like energy and stuff like that. So I was hoping to have like a mentor, if that makes sense. That was my ideal thought. Like ideally that's how it would happen. Like, but it hasn't happened yet, and so okay, I'm just gonna have to delve right in there, my own damn self. Excuse my language, and that's okay. Like, it is what it is, and I'm still excited about it. But also, I want to tread carefully because of my faith, right? And I do believe Jesus was spiritual, and this is a new realization that I've had for myself. For myself, this is how I see things. Okay, but obviously, all of that kind of the energy and all that is connected to witchcraft, which I am against, right? I am 1,000% against witchcraft, because who do you think you are? I'm gonna get emotional because I'll explain another time. But who do you think you are to sit there and try and manipulate and play God in another person's life through witchcraft, through energy work, different things, So it's a line that I will tread carefully with, because I don't want to cross that line, right? Because Jesus was a healer. That's energy work. That's spirituality. And so, like, I'm sorry, like, I'm just emotional because, like, there are people out there that, like, pretend to be of light, but are really do really mean things and wish really mean things onto people. I've experienced it myself. I'll say that for another time. But yeah, so anyway, there's the story of the woman that was bleeding, very well known story of the Bible. And she thought, if I just touch his cloak, then I can be healed. And when she touched his cloak with faith, with true faith, Jesus turned around. He said, I felt energy leave me. I felt power leave me. That is energy work, I'm telling you. So I'm not just like crazy or some weirdo, right? I mean, I am weird, but not in a bad way. No, okay, but anyway, so that's when I came to the realization, thinking about this and digesting this again, what I know about the Word of God. And I was like, Jesus was a spiritualist in the best, most possible, best way. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, so I do want to dive into it more. I'm a little bit nervous. It would be fun to like dive into it with someone who knows more about it, right? But maybe it's not meant to maybe I'm not meant to learn that way. Maybe I'm meant to learn on my own, right? Because people can sway you and manipulate you and stuff like that. So if I just do it on my own and ask the Lord to guide me in my teachings, right, then there you go. But anyway, so how did we get to that? Yeah, so I have a poem. I was just trying to think back to how I got to this, but yeah. So it's called Playing Mommy and Daddy by Jessiah Voné. And I just would like to say before I start this poem, if there's anybody, I just want to say a prayer out there or let you know that I'm have in mind and I'm praying for anybody that has lost someone recently. I'm sorry for your losses, and it's hard when you lose somebody that was important to you. The most recent person that I lost was my granny, and I felt bad because I used to live in Indianapolis. She lived in Cleveland, and she was going through some health concerns, but it wasn't like one of those situations where the person's going to go eventually because they have had like long-standing health concerns. No, it was like sudden. It was like all of a sudden she started having these health issues and going to the hospital. Either way, it was a short time, right? Either way, I felt bad that I was not there in those last moments, and I felt like all the other family had come together and all, and I was there in Indianapolis, and I felt like I should have been there for her. I should have been helping take care of her and stuff. And anyway, I didn't mean to be getting all emotional, but I just felt the need to say, for anybody who's lost someone recently, I'm sending you love because it's hard. And something I'm learning, they very well may be on the other side, helping protect you and guide you and keep you. Yeah. So anyway, that's just a random thing I'm throwing out there, okay? But anyway, this poem is called Playing Mommy and Daddy by Jessiah Voné. When I was younger, I played house a lot. I played the mommy at times. Other times I played the dad. Even then, although I didn't have the full understanding, I recognized the masculine and feminine. One time, a girl put her straps down to have the appearance of nakedness. In high school, I read a book called Brave New World. And in it talked about the games children play. Or rather, the games they had the children play. One of the games in the book was called Find the Zipper. This is the kind of programming we just accept. Now, why would kids need to play a game called that? Yes, I identify as a feminine energy, mostly, but being a single mom has taught me to use both masculine and feminine energy advantageously. Today I let my kids jump all over me. My first reaction was to tell them to stop. They were being kind of rough, but in the moment, I let it go on. I felt it was time to be a daddy. Excuse me, it was time to be on daddy duty. I couldn't completely, and I can't completely replace that daddy energy in their life, and I wouldn't want to either. These things I pray about because I know they deserve better. They deserve a mother and a father. But in that moment, I didn't want to rob them of a very human experience of jumping on daddy. Maybe just for a couple minutes, they wouldn't have the pain of having a mostly absent father. Imagine being a nurturing mom with a badass kid you don't want to take your stress out on. So you resort to mostly gentle parenting, even with the explaining things in a gentle and calm voice. At the end of the conversation, you still are considered a mean mommy. In those moments, I wish I had a little help. But I know in the future, it's got to get better. Until then, all I can do is the best that I can. Use my masculine and feminine energy to be the best mom that I can be, and offer my children small daddy moments. I do believe in answered prayers, and I know God will bring a lovely man in his divine timing. Even then, I still want to be balanced, because if I could do one thing different than what I've done in my past relationship, I wouldn't put so much pressure on my man, the pressure of providing and taking care of business while I stayed home with the kids. This next time around, I want to be a power couple, because after all, two heads are better than one. All things balanced, beautiful, and blessed. By Jessiah Voné. Thank you so much. And yeah, I just want to send some words of encouragement. I know um, in life we all go through those times where we feel stagnant and disappointed with the consequences of our choices, right? But like for my example, like I could sit there and just like swim in regret, right? Of the person I chose to have children with, or, not walking away before, so many things, so many ways I could like encourage that regretful feeling in my life. But at this point, I'm like, regret what? I have three beautiful daughters, right? And that is a blessing. Three blessings there, right? And a lot of responsibility. But anyway, um, that is not anything to regret. And also, this experience has taught me to that I can endure so much. And so I'm grateful for that. Grateful to learn more about myself, about the strength that I have to keep going despite what I considered my worst nightmares to come in, to come into reality. But I'm making it through, and I pray a lot, and my daughters are making it through too as well. I do pray for their healing though, because I know there is a sense of trauma to a single parent household and things like that, right? But I know it's got to get better in the future, and as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, working on myself and trying to do the best with what I can, I feel like that's all God would ask of me in these hard times. And to also be obedient, obviously. But yeah, you can do it. Whatever mountain you're facing, you're more capable than of achieving things that you never thought you could. You are capable to endure a lot of pain, and nobody wants to, but sometimes in those moments, it's good to find something positive to focus on. It really does help, you know? You will make it through. You are so strong and capable. You really are. Diamonds. Diamond in the rough. Anyway, much love.